Hello YouTube! Okay, so today we're looking fairly briefly at 1 month with the Xbox Series X. As you'll know if you've watched my previous videos, this is my first modern console. I've had a PS3 Fat, but it was never used to its full capacity. I literally used it like it was a PSX. Bung the disc in, play the game, away we go, and it was fairly knackered and falling over anyway. So this is my first proper console. So how have I got on, and is it worth buying? The best thing about the Xbox Series X is that you don't notice that it exists. That's it. You just don't notice it. The design, the black box is such a simple, elegant design that it just disappears into the background. We've got it next to the TV, and it's just part of the furnishing. It looks like a DVD box or something. It's just vanished into the background. You don't notice it. You also don't notice it when you're playing a game, which is brilliant, because old consoles, or indeed my laptop, you've spent ages on loading screens, or a wire came loose, or it made a stupid noise. I mean, my laptop, if I'm running Skyrim or something, it sounds like a jet on takeoff. It's insane. The PS3 has a wonderful habit. You'll play for a while, and then suddenly it'll the screen will go black, and it'll freeze for a good 10 seconds. So you crash in a car, or you fall off a building or something. But it adds a nice element of surprise to a game. So nothing lags. The controller, you press a button and it reacts. Unlike the PS3, where you jump off something, say Assassin's Creed. You jump off something, you try and grab a ledge as you're falling, so you press the button, and by the time you've hit the button, you've fallen past it. Or if you're in a fight, you go to block, by the time you've found the button, press the button, and the system's registered it, you've been hit in the face. So you can just enjoy the game. Things respond. Nothing lags. Nothing freezes. It's also, and it's not just that it doesn't sound like a jet on takeoff. It is silent. I have stood next to it whilst it's been running, and it's been on at that point for a good 7 or 8 hours. You just can't hear it. It's just a black box with a tiny illuminated X. You don't notice it, and that is brilliant. With me being autistic and anyone else being triggered by noises or just electrical sounds in the background, you don't notice it. It's perfect like that. On an actual gaming level, whilst I still suck, I'm getting slightly better, but I still suck. But I am getting better, and I'm getting better not because I'm playing more, but because the system is making me get better. It's helping me. Because the controller is responsive and comfortable and doesn't slip out of my hands or doesn't have weird angles, rather than thinking, oh shit, am I pressing triangle or square or where are all these things? It's A, B, X, Y. It just makes sense. So there are a few times where I'm pressing buttons or looking down or hitting the wrong one, or forgetting in the panic of a fight which is which. But for the most part, it's just responsive. You just know it. It's intuitive. It makes sense. Quick resume. Quick resume is phenomenal. I like playing F1 games, and because I'm old school, I do the full length the practice session and the full length qualifying and the full length race. And what I enjoyed about old school games was you could save during a race. So you could do 15 laps, save it, come back the next evening. Modern F1 games, you can't. You have to block out time to do the entire race, which I get is more realistic. But it's not realistic for a person with an actual timetable. And quick resume, I can do it. I've got F1 2019 on Game Pass, and I can do half a race or 5 laps, pause it because we're having a tea or something, Or, I haven't got to block out a full 2 hours to do a race. You just pause it, come back to it 2 or 3 days later, bang, done, not a problem. Quick resume is amazing. We can be playing Assassin's Creed, I can be playing with the missus, with the goblin, and then she goes off to the kitchen or, wherever. So I flick over to Forza and do a quick race on Forza Motorsport 7. And then straight back to Assassin's Creed. It's just brilliant. And it's so responsive. Load screens are a thing of the past. I mean, yeah, they exist. They exist and they're there for 5 seconds maybe. I'm used to Skyrim, which my modded Skyrim runs... I've not played Skyrim on the Xbox yet because I'm in the middle of a very, very heavily modded run through on the laptop. And some of the load screens on the laptop are a good 30 seconds. It's frustrating. Load screens don't exist on the Series X. It's brilliant. However, all the positives, and it's mostly positive, and would I recommend it? Yes, I bloody would. But there are a few downsides. There are a few downsides, mainly if you haven't had a modern console. Microsoft assume knowledge. They don't assume that someone old is going to come into it, and they don't assume that someone won't have so much of a social group to ask. I've got one mate who plays on Xbox, and he's helped me a lot, but I don't have kids to ask. I'm not a child asking something in a playground or, in a classroom. They assume knowledge. It does so much that it's overwhelming. Like the Microsoft Rewards program is brilliant. I've got it set up to give me a £5 gift voucher each month, which is great because it's going to halve the cost of the Game Pass Ultimate. But Gamerscore, it took me ages because there's nothing that explains it clearly on the internet that I could find. Gamerscore, what the fuck is that? You get a thing saying in January, if you hit 10,000 Gamerscore points, we'll give you X amount of reward points. Great. What the fuck's a Gamerscore point? How do I get those? Turns out it's adding up achievements, which means that 10,000 is quite a disturbing amount, given you get maximum 20 for an achievement. But hey, yeah, so that's confusing. I put a DVD in to use it as a DVD player because, I figured that's what you do. And I had to download an app for that, which was bizarre. And it seems essentially to be a small PC that runs on apps. That's the best way I can describe how it comes across. And I probably haven't scratched the surface. I've probably found about a third of what it does. Because nothing is explained. They assume you know. And they assume that someone will tell you. Or they assume that you've had a previous Xbox or a previous modern console. They don't assume that you're going to come into it fresh at 40 and go, whoa, what the fuck's going on here? A little bit of explanation, Microsoft, would have been good. There may be a help tutorial, but there's so much system going on, I haven't found it. So yeah, it's brilliant, but it does so much that it can be slightly overwhelming and it can be confusing. The only real annoyance I've had, I got the console, as you know, and I bought it with a second controller. And one of the controllers, the one that came actually with the Xbox, was dodgy. I did online gaming once with my mate playing Forza 4 with headphones, and the headphone jack was dodgy. It wasn't the headphones, so I tried 3 or 4 different pairs, and it just crackled and it didn't come out the left ear. So I contacted Microsoft and said, "Oi, this is a problem." I had to tweet them because their return website wasn't working, but we got that sorted, and they said, "Yeah, not a problem. We'll send you a new one under warranty." So I sent it off UPS, which moderately annoying because I'm 10 miles from the nearest UPS drop-off, but that's my fault for living in the middle of nowhere. So I sent that off, absolutely fine. A few days later, yep, it's all agreed. We're sending you your new controller. And I got it through, and as a replacement for my brand new Series X controller, they sent me a second-hand Xbox One controller. First world problems, but needless to say, I got hold of them and went moderately mental. Because it's not the right one. It's not what I paid for. And to be fair, if I hadn't bought the second controller, the Xbox One is under the process of going back again, and it took them a fortnight to turn it round. So I would have spent the best part of a month with a brand new console without a usable controller, which is a fucking problem. It was literally because I bought a second one, I've been fine. But you buy a new console, your controller's dodgy, you send it back, it takes 2 weeks to get a new controller, and then it's the wrong one. You're a month down, and fuck you, I didn't pay 500 quid for a new console not to have the damn controller work. So yeah, that's annoying. But they are sorting it, allegedly. I'm waiting to hear back from them with a return label again. If they try and be awkward, I will go mental at them again. But yeah, best thing about the Series X is you don't notice that it exists. And would I recommend it to someone who doesn't know what's going on and has never had a modern console? Abso-fucking-lutely I would. And would I recommend it to someone who's had a previous generation console? Why the fuck not? I don't know. There you go. Thanks for watching. I'll get some fail videos up because trust me, I have been failing. Hit the like button. Hit the subscribe button. I'll see you soon. Bye.